You know, everyone, I'm going to do this as quickly as I can while I'm on my break. And I apologize for the noise in the background. I have no idea what they're doing over at the house across from my job. But kind of thought I'd talk about this. I've talked about this recently, about a week or so ago, maybe two. I basically said that this whole love triangle thing in Nickelodeon's TMNT between April, Donatello, and Casey Jones has to come to an end. Now, I know some people will tell me that, you don't know what you're missing. And, that might be true. Then again, it may not be. See, I'll be honest with you. If it wasn't for this whole love triangle deal and they just settled on one pairing, I'd probably watch the show. I mean, from what I can see, I'll be honest with you, it does look good, but the thing is, like I said, there are a few things that kind of throw me off. Mostly the fact that you have the human allies, if not rivals and enemies, as mostly teenagers. And again, like I've said many times before, I can understand you want them to grow up together. You want it to be really fleshed out. You want, basically, by having them grow up together and, go through all these adventures together. I get that. I totally get that. I totally understand that. But, there's that. And then there's adding in an unnecessary love triangle. Now I know I've talked about how many people complain about excessive love triangles, love rectangles, or whatever you want to call it. I know I've talked about people arguing about that before when it came to the Sonic comics. But here's the thing though. When whoever the writers who were in Sonic, for the Sonic comics, or even SatAM, even if they teased the fact that you could have Sally end up with somebody else, or would end up with somebody else, it would only be a temporary thing, because she would also end up back with Sonic. Basically, the main thing was, you can launch Sonic off with somebody else if you want to. You can launch Sally off with somebody else. And ultimately, in the end, they end up back together. So you can have your love triangles and rectangles, whatever you want to call them. But in the end, if your main goal is to get two certain people together, even if it's for the upteenth time, then so be it. You're going to do it. That's your goal. But the thing is, with Ninja Turtles, everybody pretty much knew in any incarnation, April ended up with Casey. Any incarnation. Maybe not the 80s or 90s ones, but still, you kind of got the idea she always ended up with Casey. You take a look at of course, the live-action movie of 1990s, of 1990. You take a look at the 2003 to 2009 series. You even take a look at the 2007 movie, which was like the fourth in the original series. And you pretty much get the idea that she's always ended up with Casey. And that's not a bad thing if you're a traditional TMNT fan. And I understand the old saying of, hey, you got to shake things up every once in a while. I get that. I really do. But sometimes this goes beyond shaking things up. Get my drift. It goes beyond that. When you have an opportunity, like they did on this past weekend, according to what Andre from Black Nerd Comedy said in his review, when you have an opportunity like you did this past weekend, probably closure on it, semi-finality to it, what do you do instead? Quote Andre, or to paraphrase and quote Andre, pretty much screwed it up. Instead of putting some bit of closure, some bit of finality to it, Ciro and his crew decide, hey, let's screw it up again, and let's have this whole love triangle deal continue. And to me, it's like, if you're going to put Donatello with April, then go and do it. I mean, pretty much what we saw, what fans of TMNT, fans and watchers of the show from Nickelodeon saw this past weekend, was pretty much what they saw in those leaked storyboards. Just, maybe the coats and winter coats and all that. Pretty much saw frame by frame what was going to happen. Pretty much already seen it. And it's like, if you're going to do this. If you're going to put Donatello with April, go and do it. Don't wait any longer. Don't wait any longer. Stop teasing. Stop messing with the fan base. And if you're going to do it, do it. If you're going to have a go with Casey, have a go with Casey. End of story. Simple as that. And you might have people like me that don't really watch the show that much, only hear about it from people like Andre of Black Note Comedy, or my nephew who's almost 11 years old, or from what you read on the internet from the fan base. You might, if you just put this one thing aside, this one major flaw of yours aside, you might get us to watch. That's a true fact. You might get us to watch the show once and for all. You might finally get us to watch the show. Now, I know some people will counter-argue me and say, well, Brian, the love triangle makes it more realistic. I can understand that. I mean, like I said earlier, basically the plan was to have them grow up together. I get that. I totally do. You want them to grow up together. You want them to have some kind of finality. You want them to have some kind of connection, not just, oh, we meet her as a scientist or we meet her as a reporter. No, you want them to have history. I get that. But the fan base turn on you. I mean, pretty much you have some people already, and in fact, I can even sense Andre of Black Nude Comedy is feeling the same way. Everybody's getting sick and tired of this. They're basically saying, look, it was fun at first, but now it's getting tiresome. Put a finale, either put a cap on it, put some closure to it, end it, or do something. Stop messing and screwing with the fans. Because the more you mess and screw with the fans, the more you alienate your fans. Believe me, if I'm Ciro and I'm the creative and I'm his creative crew on this show, I do not want to alienate my fans. I want to keep them. So if I'm him, and I'm Nickelodeon, and I'm this creative crew, I pretty much seal the deal on this once and for all this season. I don't keep teasing. I don't keep making people think, oh, here's an episode where we're going to put some closure, some finality on it, and you just keep it going. No. You need to have something that definitely puts closure. But some kind of understanding of, okay, this is the direction of where we're going to go, and this is who we're going to pair April with. Be done with it. At least give some clue of exactly where you're going, and not just tease at the fact that you might put some finality and closure on it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I don't think I'm the only one that disagrees with that. So, if I'm Ciro, if I'm the creative staff of his on Ninja Turtles and all that, I put some finality on this whole situation once and for all, or at least some kind of semi-closure, because quite honestly, folks, I'm starting to notice, even if it's little by little, some fans of the show getting sick and tired of this love triangle stuff, and all they want is some closure, some finality to at least hint, okay, this is where we're going, this is who April's going to end up with at the end, no matter what, and there you go. So if I'm them, if I'm Ciro, and I'm his creative staff, I start working on that right